Good morning, student. So, children, today we will start our new chapter from part 3, that is chapter number 10. And the name of the chapter is Colonialism and the Countryside. Okay. So, as per 2020 to 21 revised syllabus, from this chapter, that is from chapter 10, you need to study from page number 257 till 274. Clear? And out here, we will cover the topic that is Bengal and the Jamindar. Under this topic, we will study some subtopic like an auction in Bardhaman, the problem of unpaid revenue, why Jamindar defaulted on payment, the rise of Jyotida, the Jamindar resist, and the fifth report. And the second point which we will discuss is that the hoe and the plough. And under this, the subtopic which it covers is in the hills of Rajmahal, the Santhal pioneer settler, the accounts of Burchan. Clear? So these are the topic which we will cover in this chapter. Clear? Now let's start our chapter, that is colonialism and the countryside. Now, by the term colonialism, what do you mean? So, it is a practice of domination which involves the subjugations of one people to other. That is, the powerful country attack the weaker country and it will get victory on the weaker country. And after that, they will start to rule upon that country, to which we will call colonial rule. Clear? So, in simple, if you will see, it means the powerful country used to control the weaker or the dependent country. Clear? Now, our first topic is Bengal and the Jamindars. So, colonial rule was first established in Bengal, that is the East India Company. I hope you all know this thing. And they had established many new regime of land rights and a new revenue system they have introduced. So, at first, this East India Company, they had gone through the history of our India as they read the book like Akbarnama, Bashanama, and they get the knowledge how land tax has been collected and what was the system out there. Clear? And after that, they brought many changes and they implemented new regime out there. Okay. Now, an auction in Bardhaman. By the term auction, I think you all know. In Hindi, we call it Nilami. Right. So, in 1797, all the property of the Raja of Bardhaman was been sold. The permanent settlement had come into effect in 1793. I hope you all know, you all must have studied in the junior class also. And who has introduced this system? Lord Cornwallis. He had introduced this system. And the East India Company, what they did is that they fixed the revenue, that is the tax which they used to collect, and the Jamindar were held responsible. That is, the village which used to come under the Jamindar, they had to collect all the tax and the amount of the fixed tax which was been fixed by the company. The Jamindar, after collecting the tax, had to pay to the company. Clear? So, if Jamindar were failed to pay the tax to the company, then will the company leave the Jamindar? Do you think? No, they will not leave the Jamindar. Now, how they will collect the tax? Because they need the tax, they will collect the tax anyhow. So, for that, all the property of Jamindar used to be auctioned if they failed to pay the tax. And Raja Bardhaman had to pay huge amount, as his huge amount was unpaid. That is, he could not pay the huge tax to the company. So, for it, his property was being auctioned. And the most interesting thing out there is that many purchasers came to the auction and the property was sold to the highest bidder. That is, who used to demand high amount to that person only, they used to give the property. And the purchaser who came to the auction was the servant of the Raja only. Clear? And after they purchased the property, they used to give the property back to the Raja. So, in this auction, over 95% of the sale, that is at the auction, the property which was being sold by auction, on that 95% was the fiction, that is fake. Clear? Now, next is the problem of unpaid revenue. After the permanent settlement, about 75% of the jamindari were given to others, and there were many jamindar who were unable to pay the revenue to the company. So, under such situation, their property used to be auctioned. So, about 75% of such case was being seen during that time. But the British officer, after the conquest of the Bengal, they had hoped that this problem will be solved out, but it did not happen. So now during 1770s in Bengal, there were huge economic crisis. That is, in 1770s, huge economic crisis was going on. Now, due to famine or due to the agriculture output was less, that is, agriculture output has decreased due to famine. For that reason, there was an economic crisis. Now, officer, they thought that the source of collecting the tax was through trade and agriculture, and it could be developed only after improving the agriculture system. So for that, investment in agriculture need to be done. So as because why investment in agriculture should be done? As because if agriculture production will be good, then only the people would be able to pay the tax. So the Britishers, as they have permanently fixed the rate of the revenue, so for this there was a debate among the company officer for the improvement of the agriculture and to fix the revenue to be collected from the state. Okay, now for that they have chosen Jamindar and the Talukdar for collecting the taxes, and under their area, that is, if under the Jamindar or under the Talukdar, if 100 village was there under them, then they need to collect the tax from this 100 village, and they had to give the fixed tax to the company. Clear? Now the Jamindar were no more landlords. Earlier they are having their own land and they were the landlord. Now they were now revenue collector of the state. Now the company, what they have done, they had fixed the total revenue to be paid by the Jamindar, and if they fail to pay regularly, then the property of Jamindar could be auctioned. Clear? Now why Jamindar defaulted on payment? What was the reason behind that? So Jamindar, they could not pay the revenue. They used to fail. That is, they could not pay the revenue on time. They used to fail to pay the revenue to the colonial, and the unpaid balance used to increase day by day. Clear? As the initial demand was very high, that was been fixed by the company, and it was been implemented in 1790s. That is the to fix the revenue was it implemented now, and the revenue demand was already fixed. When the production was very low, at that time it became difficult for the peasant to pay the high revenue to the Jamindar. So due to this, the Jamindar was not able to collect the tax from the peasant, and for this reason the Jamindar were not able to pay the tax to the company, and the unpaid tax used to get increased because production is if production is there or not, Jamindar had to pay the tax to the company. Clear? Now, according to the sunset law, that is, the Jamindar need to pay the revenue to the company before the sunset, that is, within the fixed date, that is, for example, within 10th of every month, the Jamindar, they have to pay the tax to the company. And if fail, then the Jamindar property used to be auctioned. Earlier, the power of the Jamindar was limited. The company dismissed the Jamindar troops and custom duties were been abolished. Now their kacheri, that is a court, which used to come under the jamindar. That is, the jamindar was having a particular hole on that particular area. The on that area, the court used to come under jamindar. Means the jamindar used to take the decision out there. That was also been abolished, and it was been brought under the supervision of a collector that was been appointed by the company. Even jamindar lost their power to organize local justice and local police also. So in this way, the jamindar powers was decreased. Clear? And an officer of the jamindar were also known as amla. Okay, and what was their tax? They used to go to the village and collect the tax. Now, sometimes due to bad harvest and low price payment, for that the payment of the tax was difficult for the riots. And under such situation, the rich riots was there, and village headman, that was Jyotidar and mandals, used to be very happy when they used to see the jamindar was in trouble, and they used to make the payment delay. That is, the rich riots and the village headman, they used to make the payment delay. Now jamindar could not prosecute the defaulter to the court. What was the reason they could not take that defaulter to the court? As because the judicial process was very long. For that reason, they were not taking the defaulter in front of the court. Clear? Now next, we will discuss the rise of Jyotidar. Now, who were the Jyotidar? That is, the group of rich peasants were called Jyotidar. Okay. Now, Jamindar were getting their power decrease day by day, and they were facing a crisis also. Whereas, if you will see, the Jyotidar were getting stronger. Now, this Jyotidar, they used to have vast area of land, and they used to control the local trade also. Even they were the money lender also. Okay. Now, upon the poor cultivator, over the region, that is a particular region on which the Jyotida, they were having their hold on that region only, to the poor cultivator, what they used to do, they used to show their power, give them the order, that is to cultivate this and to do that. Now, as Jyotida, they have large land, they used to only small area, that is they only use small area for themselves. Now, other part, what they used to do, the rest used to be brought through sharecroppers who used to brought their own plow. They used to have their own labor in the field. Clear? And after production, the half of the production used to be given to the Jyotidar. Okay. Now Jamindar used to live in urban area, in the cities and town. Whereas the Jyotidar, where they used to live? They used to live in the village. Clear? Now, so the Jyotidar, they were living in the village, so they had direct control over the poor villagers and used to oppose the tax which the Jamindar used to increase. So the Jyotidar used to do delay in the payment of revenue to the Jamindar, and as a result, the property of the Jamindar used to get auctioned. As they could not pay the revenue to the company on the fixed date, and for that reason the Jamindar property used to be auctioned. Now, when the property used to be auctioned, someone used to be there for the purchase. Among the purchaser in the auction, Jyotidar used to be present. So, in this way, the rich peasant and the village headman were getting stronger and been known by different name like Havaldar, Gantidars or Mandalas. Clear? I hope you have understood. Okay, children. So till this much, go through it. Thank you.